politics or diplomacy based primarily on considerations of given circumstances and factors. Let's see. Is basically a form of diplomacy using pragmatism or realism, where he realistically views the world and he uses that as diplomacy. He uses his strategies to diplomatically move the Garibaldi to invade, instead of invading mainland Italy and the Papal States, to invade the Neapolitan or the Kingdom of Two Sicilies in southern Italy. He also uses to dissuade Garibaldi from invading France when Nice, his home city, was ceded to them. Next. Garibaldi's military campaigns led to the unification of Italy. As mentioned, Garibaldi, who was being influenced by Cavour and King Victor Emmanuel II, invaded southern Italy, which was now called the Kingdom of Two Sicilies, which included the region of Naples and the island of Sicily, with his red shirts, defeating the Naples army and invading the capital, Naples itself. Afterwards, instead of invading the Papal States and destroying the papacy overall, King Victor Emmanuel led Sardinia and Piedmont into war with Milan and the surrounding regions and invading the Umbrian region of the Papal States, connecting the southern and northern regions, where Garibaldi proclaimed King Victor Emmanuel II the king of all Italy. Next. Bismarck employed diplomatic, this basically is, through the use of diplomacy, the state of Prussia exercising critical influence over the northern Germanic states and adding them to their sphere of influence. Through further democracy, Bismarck was able to guarantee this new state's rise by cutting potential threats right in the bud. With northern Germany secured under the Prussian kingdom, he quickly caught up to other nations in industrialism and surpassed them and became #1 in the industrial movement. Along with this rapid industrialism came a rapid development of modern weaponry and tactics. The needler rifle, which is a breech-loaded rifle, replaced the age-old musket and allowed for Prussia's successes against their biggest enemy in the war for unified Germany. To ensure the total domination of the German peoples, Prussia had to go to war with the once dominant Austrian Empire, who was far less industrialized and were still using tactics and weapons that looked like they were from the 1700s. The war was short and precise. The larger Austrian army was decimated by the modern breech-loading rifles and artillery of the German army. The modern tactics allowed the Prussian army to be more flexible and react quicker to the Austrian movements. With the end of the war, Austria was excluded from the German states furthermore, and the southern German states were added into Prussia's sphere of influence. To put the quote-unquote jewel in his crown, Bismarck declared war on Imperial France to gain the once Germanic states of Alsace-Lorraine. Once again, Prussia's modernized army defeated the larger French army, forcing the surrender of Napoleon I, the acquisitions of the new provinces. With the defeat of France, Napoleon was overthrown by a Republican government, and from the ashes of France's defeat rose the German Empire, which is shown by the imperial flag, where it's the unified German flag with the Prussian eagle on it. On the right here is Bismarck sitting next to the captured Louis Napoleon after the Battle of Sedan, where he forces the surrender of France. Although, while this was going on, to be noted, the Germans were besieging and had invaded the capital of Paris itself. Down below is, you can see Bismarck in his white uniform, alluding to the knight in shining white armor, with the rest of the German army, with Kaiser Wilhelm I standing above them all, being proclaimed Emperor or Kaiser of Germany. The Three Emperors League. And the League of the Three Emperors was an alliance between the German Empire, which is seen on the left in this picture on the right, Russia, with the man standing on the right, and the caricature of the weaker Austrian Empire in the middle, trying to reach up to the two. And the bottom, you can see, on the bottom and on the left, you can see the three emperors standing one to another. It was lasted from the 20th of May, 1882 until World War I in 1914. Each member promised mutual support in the event of an attack by any other great power, or in the case of Germany and Italy, an attack by France alone. In a supplementary declaration, Italy specified that its undertakings could not be regarded as being directed against Great Britain. Next. The Triple Alliance. The Triple Alliance was a military alliance among the empires of Germany, Italy, and Austria-Hungary. It lasted from the no, lasted until 20 May of World War I. They promised each other that they would protect one another against the threat of the allies of Great Britain and Russia, who promised to protect one another and their interests in the European affairs. The Reinsurance Treaty was a treaty signed between Bismarck and the Russian Empire. This treaty announced that Russia would not support France if she went to war against Germany, and Germany would promise in return to support Russian interests in the Balkans, which means that all the Balkan states which were Orthodox and Slavic like the Russian Empire would not be encroached upon their own territorial gains. The treaty provided that each party would remain neutral if the other became involved in war with a third great power. Bismarck showed the Russian ambassador the text of the German-Austrian alliance of 1879 to drive home the last point. Germany paid for Russia's friendship by agreeing to the Russian sphere of influence in Bulgaria and eastern Rumelia. Now it's part of southern Bulgaria. And by agreeing to support Russian action to keep the Black Sea as its own preserve. When the treaty was not renewed in 1890, a Franco-Russian alliance rapidly began to take shape. The Congress of Berlin in 1878. The Congress of Berlin was a meeting of the representatives of the great powers of the time: Russia, Great Britain, France, Austria-Hungary, Italy, and Germany. 4 Balkan states, Greece, Serbia, Romania, and Montenegro, and the Ottoman Empire, aiming at determining the territories of the states in the Balkan Peninsula following the Russo-Turkish War of 1877-1878. The Congress came to an end with the signing of the Treaty of Berlin, which replaced the preliminary Treaty of San Stefano, signed 3 months earlier between Russia and the Ottoman Empire. With the growing nationalist ideals in the decaying Austro-Hungarian Empire, the leader and most influential of the people of the Serbia, a sort of independent vassal of the Austrian Empire. With its growth of nationalist groups like the Black Hand and others, posed a threat to the empire and its large multi-ethnic holdings. This growth of influence would lead Europe and in turn the world into a war. Next. The Bosnian-Herzegovinian annexation crisis of 1988 was a state of severe international tension caused by the annexation by Austria-Hungary of the Balkan provinces of Bosnia and Herzegovina. The Congress of Berlin had given Austria-Hungary the right to occupy and administer Bosnia and Herzegovina temporarily, but the provinces officially remained possessions of the Ottoman Empire. Still, the Austrian economically interlinked closely with the Austrian Empire, Hungary. When in July 1908, the Young Turks staged a revolution in Constantinople, now Istanbul, established the constitutional government and inaugurated a reform program. The Austrian Foreign Minister Graf Count Lexa von Ehrenfeld resolved to annex Bosnia and Herzegovina before the new Turkish regime could regain control over them. To that end, Ehrenfeld met the Russian Foreign Minister Alexander P. Izvolsky at Buchlau in Moravia. And on September 6, 1908, Izvolsky agreed that Russia would not object to the annexation. However, with the speed and quickness that the Austrians annexed it, popular Russian support forced them to break this promise and side with Serbia on their claims that pieces of Bosnia and Herzegovina belong to Serbia itself. Next. Nationalist tensions in the Balkans. With territory being gobbled up by the desperate empires, the people of the Balkan nations began seeing a threat to their freedom, and those already conquered resented their masters. The Europeans worried but covered it up and hoped it went away. I've seen the picture where they're sitting on the pot called Balkan Troubles, trying to keep them down but totally ignoring them as well. On the left, you'll see that all the empires are represented by vultures circling and swooping down on the weaker Balkan nations. In the middle, you have the nationalist group, the Black Hand, which assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand, which began World War I. Next. With the rise of Balkan nationalist countries like countries like Russia and Germany, fearing being alienated, losing important allies, rushed to proclaim support for nations in the Balkans. With Russia supporting Serbia, and Germany supporting their old rival Austro-Hungary, these supports would set the stage for a conflict between these powers over the future of the Balkan nations. On the left, you have a man that looks like a Russian holding different which are called the Dogs of War, with the names of Balkan countries, pointing towards a man that looks like wearing Turkish clothing, and the British are looking over the fence saying, "You better hold on to those dogs." Next. The First Balkan War lasted from October 1912 to May 1913, which compromised the actions of the Balkan Leagues, which include Bulgaria, Serbia, Greece, and Albania. These Balkan nations outnumbered and outclassed the decaying Ottoman Empire's army, quickly defeating them and gobbling up the rest of the Ottomans' European territory holdings. As a result of the war, the Allies captured and partitioned most all remaining European territories of the Ottoman Empire. Ensuing events also led to the creation of an independent Albanian state. Despite its success, Bulgaria was dissatisfied over the division of the spoils in Macedonia, which provoked the start of the Second Balkan War. The Second Balkan War was a conflict which broke out when Bulgaria, dissatisfied with its share of the spoils of the First Balkan War, attacked its former allies Serbia and Greece on 16 June 1913. Serbian and Greek armies repulsed the Bulgarian offensive and counterattack, entering Bulgaria. With Bulgaria also having previously engaged in territorial disputes with Romania, this war provoked Romanian intervention against Bulgaria. The Ottoman Empire also took advantage of the situation of the fighting allies to regain some of its captured lands in Europe. When Romanian troops approached the capital Sofia, Bulgaria asked for an armistice, resulting in the Treaty of Bucharest, in which Bulgaria had to cede portions of its First Balkan War gains to Serbia, Greece, and Romania. And the Treaty of Constantinople, it lost Edirne to the Ottomans. In 1888, the German Emperor William I died, leaving the throne to his son, Friedrich III. The new monarch was already suffering from an incurable throat cancer and died after reigning for only 99 days. He was succeeded by his son, Wilhelm II, who opposed Bismarck's careful foreign policy, preferring vigorous and rapid expansion to enlarge Germany's place in the sun. Bismarck was 16 years older than Friedrich before the latter became terminally ill. Bismarck did not expect he would live to see Wilhelm's ascent to the throne, and thus had no strategy to deal with him. Conflicts between Wilhelm and his chancellor soon poisoned their relationship. Bismarck, forced for the first time into a situation that he could not use to his advantage, wrote a blistering letter of resignation decrying Wilhelm's interference in foreign and domestic policy, but the letter was published only after Bismarck's death. Bismarck resigned at Wilhelm II's insistence on 18 March 1890 at the age of almost 75. That is it. Woo!
All right, very